I'm Jarin Blaschke, the cinematographer of Nosferatu.
Pray. Sit.
I first received this idea from Rob about 10 years ago. After The Witch, he was in a place where he might have made like a giant movie that maybe would have been a mistake at that stage, just due to our expertise being limited at that point. So he pivoted to Nosferatu. When you write to script, it's kind of easy to see because I know his tastes. Sometimes you're talking, it's like, oh yeah, if we do the thing and it's dark and you know what I mean. And I go, yeah, I know what you mean. But to someone else, it's just, is this English? Like what's going on? But we're comfortable enough that we're just going to keep pushing each other and pushing each other. I can be more outlandish with ideas than I would with another director probably, just because it's safe. I'm not going to get fired.
The midnight hour has passed.
This sequence, there's never really any sure footing. We're playing with a lot of confusion, and then we'll set up something pretty ordinary, a medium shot, but we're gonna still pull the carpet from under you, and it's all carefully thought out to, sort of set up expectations and then throw you off. Being disoriented and having the camera lead you and you're never really sure what you're gonna look at next was kind of an important aspect of this film. Part of the disorienting design of that whole thing, because it's sort of ambiguously a nightmare coming to the castle and essentially all the time in the castle, really. The door's shut, and then we're in a staircase. You see Orlok, we wipe in a staircase. He's no longer there, and then our eyes drawn to this kind of firelit, hall through this doorway. We push through, he's not there either. In this case, the long takes help make the magic of him appearing and reappearing even more magical. Then he arrives, he sees Orlok, and we're trying to obscure him. We don't want to give him away just yet. So we're using all the tricks we can think of. We're using great distance, darkness outside. The staircase, he's fragmented. Then we come up, he's gone again, and then you see him, as a true silhouette against the fire. The initial designs for that chamber had the fire in the side of the room. I asked Craig nicely, pretty pleased, could it be behind Orlok, for these reasons. He obliged. So you have the silhouette, and then you cut to the other side, then he's sort of, again, a fragment out of focus in the foreground, and then Thomas sits in a close-up, and then you have him out of focus. You see more of him a little bit, but it's still very out of focus. That side of the room is front-lit, so it's even more important that he remain very out of focus. And we're still using these tricks, what's real, what's not, where is Orlok? The camera kind of moves around Thomas, leaving Orlok there, clearly dealing with the papers, and then all of a sudden he's next to Thomas pouring his chalice. Just kind of these old school tricks to make him appear magical, and hopefully all the more effective because we're living in real time, in a oneer, and then we sort of keep panning, and then there he is at the end of the table. Just try and make it magical. What can heighten the magic is if you get a grounding of something that you believe, and also, living in real time through a sustained take.
Drink.
We used almost all the tools. There's a little bit of LED. There's a lot of HMI for daylight because I'm basically creating artificial versions of natural light phenomenon. There's real candlelight. There's real firelight. The early lookbook led us into this very romantic, lush texture and palette, not being afraid of beauty, which is kind of what romanticism is about, which is the predominant art movement at the time the movie takes place.
Leave there your conveniences.
I'm creative, but in lighting, I tend to be a little bit literal. If there's a fire in the room, I'm just going to choose where the fire is going to be and then embellish it, but it's still from the same direction. Everything's motivated from that direction, so you're still believing it was real fire. There's no electric light in the Great Hall. It's all that fire. If I want some more, I'll put some mirrors and I'll multiply the source. There was a brief period where I was going to put bulbs in a hole in the fireplace to, kind of do more of what the fire's doing, but in the end, we just amplified it with mirrors or just turn it up a little more. So when you go to a front-lit direction, you have to break it up because then it gets too flat, so it needs to sort of fall-off effect across the room. We're shooting Thomas's direction, and then you get nice, rich cross-light when he's at the table. I don't like too many sources. I think that's my tendency. I just like one careful one good one, and do that as best we can. I wanted to use real fire this time. We didn't do that on The Northman. I shot very slow film for The Northman just because I wanted this kind of very clean, epic look. The Lighthouse was black and white film had not been improved since 1959. It's not so sensitive, so we needed something with a little more oomph than a real oil lamp, so that was very electrified. So this time I just wanted to try candles again and see if we could do it on film this time. because the last time we did it was on The Witch, and that was shot digitally. We're big advocates of film. We would have shot The Witch on film, but, the first feature, you don't get that much, less money and less say, but this time we wanted to see if we can shoot fire on film. So I had some high-speed lenses made by Panavision, by their guru, Dan Sasaki. I'm always in talks with him about the next project or things to explore. And this movie, because it took so long to get made, I could bring up, high-speed lenses very early. I got even more advanced version of the optics than I even would have hoped. So yeah, he made just a gorgeous set of high-speed lenses for us, and that way, we go to the monastery or we go to the scene, we can just use real candles, real fire. You need a focus puller who can deal with it, because we're not just using static shots in this film. We have people moving through space, and the depth of field when you're at those light levels is extremely thin. Sometimes it's a centimeter on a shot that's this big, so you can't take that lightly. I happen to have one of the best focus pullers in the world, who's willing to work with me. Met him on The Northman, named Ashley Bond, and he could handle these scenes, and then I see that he can handle one thing, and then I keep pushing him, and I get a little spoiled.
Of course, sir.
Lord.
As you get into post, those are just tools to further refine what you've already begun on set, so they work together. There's no you do one thing and you take it back later or you alter it. It's just, there's an intention that goes through. When you shoot it, you're thinking about how you're going to print it. So you're just trying to put on the negative the basis of how you want it printed later. In the Moonlight, I'm throwing away a lot of the color. It's not just that it's printed cooler. There's literally no red information on the negative. So your film has three layers of color. There's no red at all. There's a little green, and then the blue layer is doing most of the heavy lifting. So if you print it red to get your red back, there's no red to be had. It just kind of goes gray. The idea is that it's not a tone. It's literally not there, to be brought out. You could probably get a little green out of it, if you had green leaves or something, which we don't.
I am most impatient to bring my eyes on your covenant papers.
I watched The Witch again. Damn, that's a lot of Steadicam. It's horrible. So then the lighthouse, we tried to like get rid of it. There's like one Steadicam. We couldn't figure out a way to go up the lighthouse tower staircase when Pattinson's carrying the oil can. We did it before. Like our grip came up with this whole winch system, and we did that when you go up. But there's one shot we just didn't know how to do without Steadicam. And then the Northman, there's like one scene that had to use Steadicam, but that was just because the location was so remote you couldn't get a crane there. But this was the first film we finally got that fucking Steadicam out of there. I'm pretty happy with the film. I mean, the most satisfied with this film as any film I've done. So, I mean, I can still, if I did it again, I could make it 15% better, but this is the closest thing to what I envisioned of all the work I've done so far.